What is up YouTube, and welcome to this The Rental video featuring Old Man Myers, More Morley Than Ringwald, and The Singing Beast. This was actually directed by Dave Franco and even co-written by him too as well, so these Francos are very, very talented. It's very much a modern take on the slasher flick with a middle-class entanglement going on and a very different version of the psychological slasher flick we know and love. I can't wait for Halloween Kills, but unfortunately this did not fill my Halloween hole in my stomach. Not sure where I'm going with that metaphor. Before we jump in, please do consider subscribing with notifications on and drop a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and let's talk about the creepiest Airbnb this side of the pandemic. We open with Dan Stevens' character Charlie looking at a lovely rental place with a woman draped over him, who you'd be forgiven for thinking is actually his partner, which is a plotline and a cheating plotline that is even more obvious than the benefit of using surgical masks to contain the virus. Suddenly his brother appears and Mina is actually his brother's partner, as we learn that Alison Brie, Michelle, is Charlie's partner. And again, he talks about and mentions Mina as being an absolute knockout, which really is a bit weird there, but it's moved on quickly, and I'm not really sure why he would choose her over Alison Brie. The group are embarking on a doomed but lovely and twee Instagram-friendly double-date weekend in the cabin. It's soon revealed that Mina actually tried booking it, but hers was actually cancelled, and they presume it's down to racism, which is where we're going to head quite a lot. They reach the property and meet the handyman Taylor, who is in charge of taking care of the property, which he reveals is his brother's. Oh, and they snuck their very cute little dog in. Mina actually confronts Taylor about the booking and insinuates it's due to her name and mentions racism and makes it very, very awkward. And it doesn't go well, as that now sets us up for us thinking that he is actually the killer. To be honest, she makes everything awkward, and I really found Mina to be completely unlikable. And I did like Michelle and Josh, and Michelle more because she just wanted a nice weekend away to drop a bit of Molly. Hey, who doesn't? Don't take drugs, kids. They're bad. He offers to bring a telescope and just generally acts weird, or he seems normal because the group does seem very, very stuck up. And then Josh soon finds a creepy room with an electric lock under the whole property. Michelle and everyone go on a walk together, and well, Josh says that he can't actually add anything to his relationship with Mina, implying that there is a rift. And the telescope just appears at their house, setting up the whole idea that Taylor can just get inside the house left, right and centre and when he wants. Now they plan to go for a hike the next day, but they all start to take the Molly, which Michelle has brought with them. However, she's like, no, I'm just going to take it after my hike. You know, that well-known pastime of doing hardcore drugs after a hike, you know. Yeah, I don't either. And Charlie and his brother chat on the deck as Mina looks through a telescope, and she pretends that she's seen something, and so does he, in a kind of rear window style joke. However, things get weird as they get in the hot tub as Josh is passed out. Michelle is taking a very well-earned nap and sleep before her hike, but they go to kiss, but they're interrupted by the dog barking. Now after this, Mina does have a shower and Charlie joins her, and they absolutely get steamy in the fog, which looked really weird. I wasn't sure if my stream of it was failing or something. I don't know why they had so much fog. Now the next morning, yes, there is an elephant in the room, and no one is really wanting to go on the hike. Michelle is tweefully actually getting her trail mix ready, getting her hydration sack ready, but it turns out Josh has to go with her. Now, by this point in the movie, I actually had to check the synopsis of the movie and watch the trailer again to think that what have I actually signed up for, because nothing actually happens. It's just reveals of Charlie being a douchebag with women and that's it. Not really anything happens until really the last quarter of the movie. Now, Mina and Charlie actually spend the day at the house, and they find a camera in the shower head, and there's also one in his room. However, they can't do anything about this because it would then be revealed that they got jiggy with it in their entanglement. Do you see what I did there? Yeah? Okay, should we move on? And Michelle and Josh return. However, Michelle is angry about the revelation that Charlie's girlfriends overlapped, and they argue, and then Michelle wants to take more Molly, but no one else wants to because two people are absolutely, or even three people, are actually on one hell of a come down, and they're just not really feeling it because, two of them cheated. But the dog, in a spot of predictability, goes missing, but Michelle is on Molly and she wants to dance the night away. However, she's noticed that the hot tub is broken, probably after the dirty cheating that happened the night before, and she calls the handyman, who they perceive is racist. But Charlie gets mad because Mina and Charlie think that he has been filming them the whole time and sees their interlope. However, Josh actually confronts Taylor about his dog, thinking that he is taking it, and, well, they go and look for the dog, and Taylor offers to help. And he says he knows how to keep a secret, which insinuates that Taylor knows about the cameras, but he reveals that he has no idea what they're talking about. However, Josh absolutely smacks the hell out of Taylor, which is a callback to how he actually got kicked out of college for killing someone, and they finally tell Michelle that someone is watching them through a monitor. Now, Taylor is actually murdered by what we now is revealed as the true killer, a person in black, and they find him and contemplate actually burying him, but decide to chuck him off a cliff and have the whole moment where, when a leaf gets stuck on you and you can't get rid of it. It's essentially that when they're trying to get rid of the body. Now, Michelle is actually left alone, and she turns on the TV only to see footage of Mina and Charlie absolutely doing it. He's going for it, he's loving it. But that's awkward as she decides to drive off, and she tells Charlie that she saw what happened. This is the killer now sowing discord in front of everyone, using the cameras to pretty much do his job for him. However, she drives off, drives into a tree, and, well, there was a stinger left there. She tries to get through to Charlie, but it doesn't work, and she is killed. Now, Charlie finds her body and is then attacked, and Mina and Josh finally get into the locked room just to find some boxes. He was expecting to find a control room, but now we know that Taylor and seemingly the person who owns the property isn't the killer. And Josh then gets a text talking about or at least seeing Charlie talk about sleeping with Mina, as we see the cameras in the house, and we watch Josh as he runs around the house. There's a lot of cameras. It's just, there's a lot, just to put it that way. And he's then killed by the murderer there with a hammer, and Mina is stalked and then chased off of a cliff. And the killer then calmly gets rid of all the cameras and is revealed to be wearing an old man mask. He takes off the mask as a dog comes back in and he strokes him. Now, this is really, really weird as we see him clean the property, make it so nothing happened, and then gets another property. He's shown going into somewhere. We never see his face, but we see him and a montage of his future victims with people in Airbnbs, and it seems like he's actually doing this quite a lot. Now, what is interesting is that the original killer was supposed to be revealed, and that was actually in the script, with Dave Franco saying, we wanted to keep the identity of the killer unknown. It was in the original script without giving away too much. There were early drafts of the script where we did have the villain monologuing about what they were doing, and it just felt preachy and cheesy. We decided to strip that all away, and it felt like there was something much creepier about the ambiguity of it all. I feel like that's all I can say without giving much more. Now, what would that monologue have been? I would presume it might be about politics, considering that, well, the country is divided, and that Franco had said, I think about how the country is as divided as it's ever been, and no one trusts each other, yet we trust staying in the home of a stranger simply because of a few positive reviews online. So it's pretty clear it's a political killer who seems to be killing millennials as maybe a thinly veiled Trump supporter or alt-right person with the skills and know-how to go around the country renting Airbnbs and subletting them to the unknowing victims. The movie was open-ended, and Franco had this to say about a sequel. I have a pretty strong idea for what I would do with the sequel if I was lucky enough to get the opportunity. Without giving too much away, I would want to explore the mythology of the villain a bit more, and also set the story outside of the US, because there are Airbnbs and home shares all over the world. Now that sounds curious, and it seems like it is very much a person with an agenda, and I'd be excited to see where that goes. I just think he's maybe stripped away a bit too much, in my opinion. The movie was semi-decent, with the pacing being far too off, with the last quarter actually having action, but it looks like an interesting start to a franchise, but sadly the potential was there, however, it was a bit squandered. It's very much for me a wait until Netflix or Amazon Prime, not something I would recommend if it's PVOD. However, that's it for this video. Please drop a like down below and subscribe with notifications on if you never want to miss a video, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.